Welcome to the third and final segment of this episode of Joe and the Fat Man. Joe Smeltzer, Nittany Sports Now, Kyle Fatman Golick, Nittany Sports Now, Jay Hallahan doubles as our producer, Mike Farrell Sports. Kyle, this is your segment, The Box of Mystery. Explain to our listeners who might not have heard before what that is and what this topic is, because Jay and I do not know yet.
All right. So for our new audience listeners and returning, the Box of Mystery is a random mystery subject that Joe and Jay have zero clue and they have zero prep. So they're getting it and answering to you based off of what I think. It doesn't necessarily have to tie into Penn State. It could be a potpourri subject of some sort, but ultimately it is the Box of Mystery. So tonight's Box of Mystery brought to you in part by Kyle's old lady here, who took his picture of Beaver Stadium and for his 40th decided to do this awesome whiteout canvas. But it's not about a gift per se. We're going to tie this into the good old EA Sports college football video game here. So, they put out this video game. They always say, what are their 20 toughest places to play? This season, Penn State is Beaver Stadium is ranked number 2. Number 1, of course, is Death Valley down in Baton Rouge. Ohio State is 3rd. I have been fortunate enough to have been to games in, if I'm counting right, 8 of the top 10 ones, and absolutely each of them are intense. The ones I haven't been to have been Clemson and Oklahoma. So I've been well traveled in that. So my question to Joe, Jay, and I will answer myself is, what are 3 environments that either you've been to or have been on TV, and you can't include Beaver Stadium, that you feel are absolutely toughest places for an opposing team to play? Try to lean to where you've been, but if you haven't been there, but you feel what you've seen on TV is that, preface it that way.
This is a good one.
I thought it would be good.
The first one I'm thinking of is Cameron Indoor for basketball.
I was thinking of that one too. Yeah. Cameron Indoor for sure. I also think a good one is Madison Square Garden. When you get the sound going in there, it's almost deafening inside that place.
Yeah, I thought of my 3 already. I'll go Cameron Indoor 1. And I'm taking football out of this entirely. I think it's better to talk about other sports. Cameron Indoor would be my number 1. My second would be the Astrodome, with baseball version of the Astrodome. I know that was a football stadium too, but the Astros playoff games in the early 80s, there's a famous clip of Mike Schmidt covering his ears after Houston scored a run in an NLCS game. And then Citizens Bank Park in October. Those are 3 ones away from football that I think are just absolutely electric.
I'm gonna count football, and I have to go 1 in no particular order. Arrowhead Stadium. I mean, that place is ridiculous, and they don't try to pack in the sound like Seattle did,
or Indianapolis.
Well, there are other rumors about that. 2, Citizens Bank Park in October. 3, the it used to be Ralph Wilson, the Bill Stadium in
New Era Field, I think it is.
January. Yeah, I think you might be right. That place, when it's cold, I mean, Miami can't complete a pass there. Tua can't even play in that stadium. So those are my 3.
So for me, I'm going to start internationally. I am going Camp Nou, home of Barcelona. I will tell you firsthand, there's already discontent in Catalonia in Spain between the Catalonians and Barcelona's and the rest of Spain, and especially whenever you consider the rivalry with Real Madrid. Even for inferior competition, the intensity level at Camp Nou was off the charts. So that is one. Second, I'm gonna go to the NFL here, and dude, I've gone to Philly multiple times. I will tell you, the Link is not a paradise for an opposing team. Like, I've seen little kids come up to me and tell me to go F myself. I've seen women literally pull their pants down and squat and like no shame. And it's like, I've seen guys like, I would love to see Philadelphia at their absolute intoxicated level take on Bills Mafia. I think that would be the end of the world in tailgating right there. But I will say this, Bills Mafia is at least somewhat polite. Philadelphia, if you're wearing the wrong jersey, dude, they hate you. They hate your parents. They hate everything about you. The 4-letter words are just off the charts. So I got to go there. And then my last stadium that I am going to go with, and this one was tough for me to pick, but I've always said, in baseball, old Yankee Stadium in the late 90s and early 2000s was unlike anything else on the planet. And like the Red Sox rivalry, especially in Fenway, unreal. I'm just saying, old Yankee Stadium. I'm not a big fan of the new Yankee Stadium, the house that George built or Jeter built, however you want to classify it. But there was something about old Yankee Stadium that the bleacher creatures got you if you weren't a fan of the pinstripes.
Yeah, I'd say the best single game atmosphere I've been in is the 2013 Pirates Reds wildcard game. But obviously, PNC Park doesn't have a consistent enough winner to be anywhere close on that list. Another one I thought about is the Civic/Millen Arena. Just the way that building was constructed when the Penguins were good, playing in the playoffs. Fans were right on top of the ice, and it's not that way at PPG Paints Arena. So I think that Civic Arena on the right day, if you see the clip of Mario Lemieux's game-winning Stanley Cup goal against the Blackhawks in '92, Mike Lang is on the record saying that if you were in West Virginia and couldn't hear that crowd noise, then you must be deaf. I think that's a very good honorable mention environment that I was actually in multiple times and wish I got to spend more time in, but it was torn down when I was 12.
I was in there for a lot of that, Joe. It's definitely a magic place. Like, those crowds were absolutely electric. The Consol now PPG Paints Arena, it has a good, I like it how it's more of a barn feel, and it feels like you're on top, and it gives for a little bit better experience, I will say, no matter where you sit. But the old Civic Arena was beyond intense. And then Jay, the old Spectrum, and I know that's probably way before your time, but I don't know what they call it. Is it the Wachovia Center?
It's going to be the Xfinity Center. It's now the Wells Fargo Center. But yeah.
So that goes to show like how much I've paid attention, because I remember the game really well.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It was 2009.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was landmark.
That would have been the Wachovia Center at the time. That was like the third name of that place. It's kind of funny.
Did you ever go to the vet, Kyle?
Yes.
Yeah, how was that?
Not fun, I'm sure.
I can't. If we needed to up our rating for me to talk about going to the vet,
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah,
Well, that's putting it politely.
even for a Phillies game when the Phillies were terrible, it
Yeah,
was still intense. Like,
yeah. It obviously was more for the Eagles, but I mean, I don't know how opposing fans got out of that place alive. Sometimes even opposing players, I don't know how they got out
I,
alive either.
Well, that was more because of the turf.
That too.
That
well,
canceled.
yeah,
I think it's so the only NFL game to ever be postponed because
It
of
was,
field
it was
conditions.
preseason. It was preseason, but yeah, dude, that is. I'll go back and watch the Ravens Hard Knocks when they lift that turf up. I have no idea why the players looked at that and said, "Okay, we're gonna go somewhere else and play. Like we're gonna rent out Beaver Stadium this year because this is pathetic." I mean, you're literally playing on concrete. It's like literally playing on a parking lot.
nothing will ever beat the one guy that decided to drive his car inside Three Rivers Stadium going 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah.
That's another one. I was 2 when they tore Three Rivers down, but
Oh, Three Rivers is
that's
great.
that's a much. From all accounts, I've heard that was a much better football experience than high school.
It absolutely was. Pittsburgh was always in prime time for Steeler games. And I mean, as a young individual, to see some of the things that I saw, even when I went in 98 during the home run chase, seeing both Sosa and McGuire, and they were sellouts there at Three Rivers Stadium, it was insane. I would, it's one of those things like if you gave like I always say this, if you give Pittsburgh a reason to care, it's absolutely intense. It's another animal. It's just when you don't give them a reason to care, they're as good as anybody of not showing that they care.
2015 wild card series against Chicago. That was in Pittsburgh, I think, right? That was
Yeah, Cubs absolutely.
that was intense though. I will say that was intense. It was cool to watch.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Jake Arrieta never was in control of the whole thing, and Kyle Schwarber definitely ended the Pirates' season that night.
Yeah.
Yep,
I just remember Sean Rodriguez trying to fight whoever it was on the Cubs. I thought that was pretty funny.
I tried to fight a Gatorade cooler.
That too. Yeah, I remember seeing that. That was great. That was great.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the latest episode of Joe and the Fat Man. The last episode in the month of June, as June only has 30 days and we're already at the 25th. But for Kyle Fat Man Golick, Jay Howhan, I'm Joe Smeltzer signing off. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Good night, Canada.